But one thing I do want to ask, because you mentioned the biological advantage earlier, there are some out there that I've seen that say, well, Leah Thomas came in fifth. She came in fifth. So how could how could she have a biological advantage? She didn't even win. What would you have to say to people that say things like that?
It's First of all, I'm not one for speculation. Everything that I say, I try to be well versed on. I try to research. I try to consider different perspectives, but I can wholeheartedly say that Thomas didn't try. This was all part of a bigger picture. Thomas, the first day, wins the national title, beating Olympians, American record holders by body lengths. The second day gets fifth. The third day, in the 100 freestyle, qualifies top eight in the morning, which I want to reiterate, top eight in the country is a phenomenal achievement.
Hmm.
Um, but that night dives in this final heat. And once you've secured that top eight spot in the morning, you are finishing top eight in the nation, regardless of what time you go. Thomas dives in and literally looks like he doesn't know how to swim. Places eighth. This was sending a message that trans women can compete with women and win, but not always dominate.
So do
That's
you think so are you kind of saying that maybe, and obviously it's not confirmed, that Leah kind of threw the race a little bit and waited?
absolutely.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, we were competing against someone who was actively giving their second best,
mhm.
which again, in a sport where we've dedicated our entire lives, especially those 4 collegiate years, to merely shave 1/100ths of a second off, merely 1/100ths. We're going against someone who is actively giving their second best. That's what that is.
That's crazy. How do other swimmers feel in this? Taylor Rock and I know in that NCAA video that I was showing, Taylor like congratulates Leah afterwards. Did everybody feel supportive of this, or was there or did they feel almost pushed into being supportive, other in fears that they'd be called transphobic or anything like that?
Yeah, no, it's that. Of course, I can't speak for every single person, but I know a lot of girls in that heat who I have had conversations with feel the exact same way I do. I won't say their names because it's not my place to
Absolutely.
out them in that way, but the overwhelming majority of girls at that competition, the overwhelming majority of people in this country, even the overwhelming majority of the Democratic Party, but in regards to that competition, the overwhelming majority of us knew that was wrong. We knew that we shouldn't have to share that locker room with the man. We knew the silencing that we were facing was wrong. But again, these girls were scared of the retaliation. They were fearful. Um, there was actually an interview just released yesterday. Her name is Paula Scanlon
Yeah.
with Matt Walsh. I highly encourage everyone to go listen to it because she does a good job depicting of what these universities and these athletic departments and these institutions are doing to really silence these girls.
Yeah, I had a chance actually to watch that, and I was wondering because she implicates you. She basically thanks you in that video, saying that you were part of her inspiration for wanting to come forward. Obviously, she was mentioned anonymously, or was interviewed anonymously for Matt Walsh's highly successful "What Is a Woman." How does it feel to know that there are other people like Paula coming out and saying that you were an inspiration for them?
This is never something I could have wanted for myself. This is never something that I could have been equipped for. This is something that I was entirely thrusted into.
Hmm.
And so to be a voice of reason for others, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm continuing to do this. It would be really easy for me to essentially just ride off into the sunset, continue on with the plans that I thought I had pursuing endodontics, which is
Hmm.
like root canals. That's
Yeah,
what I thought my life was going to look like.
yeah.
And it would be really easy for me to do that. But to know that my voice and my courage, I hate to say that this even takes courage, but I understand that it does.
Hmm.
That my courage and my voice helped Paula find her courage and her voice. It alerts me that courage begets courage and it's contagious. And I'm certain, I'm confident that more and more women will start speaking about this, using their platforms to talk about this and how it's wrong. That being said, I feel like this conversation very quickly gets centered around women and girls, but men are not clear here either. We need men. We need men to use their voice. We need men with platforms, male athletes, coaches, whatever that looks like, um, to be willing to boycott, to speak on this as well. We need everyone: men, women, coaches, medical professionals, parents, all of it.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I want to get into a lot more of that activism, but I did have one more question regarding Lia Thomas. And this is a big one that a lot of people have talked to me about. And I feel like a lot of people are skeptical of it. Do you actually think that Lia Thomas believes he is a woman? Or do you think he's using womanhood as a costume to get attention and success? I know you can't get into his mind necessarily, but from a personal standpoint, what do you think?
I definitely think there's some delusion there. But in regards to being gender dysphoric, I've really tried to understand this. Obviously, I'm not gender dysphoric. I know I'm a woman. So this is not something I had a great understanding of what it meant to have this, to feel this. And so I've talked with many trans identifying individuals and asked what gender dysphoria is really like. And they all have told me that in regards to a locker room and undressing, being gender dysphoric, you would never undress in front of in a room full of the opposite sex. If you're truly dysphoric about your gender and what, you possess, you would never do that. It's also been confirmed since this meet that Thomas has been engaging in social media posts that claim he is an AGP, which means autogynephiliac, which means you're just sexually aroused as dressing as a woman. And that's a transvestite or crossdresser. That's not someone who is truly transgender. Yet we were forced to participate in this fetish. That's ultimately what I think this is. Again, I can't get in his brain. I can't
Mhm.
understand fully, but based off of the conversations that I've had and the posts and the comments and the likes that Thomas has engaged in, I think there's some speculation to be had.